Good evening again. Welcome to Major Stories. I am Joel Crosskill. The Minister of Science, Energy and Technology says the government is moving to complete the Data Protection Bill to ensure that Jamaicans' personal information is safeguarded while using the Internet. The minister, among others who are speaking at the Cybersecurity and Cybercrime Summit in Latin America and the Caribbean. Here is my colleague Christine Forbes with this evening's lead story.
Cybercrime is any crime that is committed with the use of computer and digital networks. The three-day workshop was focused on bringing improved measures to deal with digital attacks on users in Jamaica. Minister of Energy, Science and Technology Favour Williams says her ministry is creating effective defense against computer-related crimes.
The Ministry of Science, Energy and Technology continues to improve our cyber infrastructure by collaborating with local and international partners to strengthen our cyber response. The Organization of American States, through its Inter-American Committee Against Terrorism, has been working with the Jamaica Cyber Incidents Response Team to implement an early warning system which will assist in protecting Jamaica's cyber infrastructure. The system will help to fortify Jamaica's cyber infrastructure by facilitating delivery of more timely alerts regarding cyber threats.
While Jamaicans are being asked to embrace the changes of the digital age, they're also being urged to exercise caution in cyberspaces. Minister Williams explains some of the attacks commonly conducted.
These digital attacks or cyber attacks are usually aimed at accessing, changing or destroying sensitive information, extorting money from users, or interrupting normal business processes.
As Jamaica strengthens its presence on the digital landscape, efforts are also being made by the Security Minister to ensure that the country is capable of protecting users against cyber crimes. Dr. Horace Chang, while addressing the workshop, says a collaborative effort will create a greater impact in granting protection for the Internet users.
Through these partnerships, we are working to develop an early warning system, which will include the Security Information and Event Management System network. This network will allow for a more proactive approach to cybersecurity, strengthen cooperation between OS member states, and in turn improve our own cyber resilience.
Christine Forbes, CVM Live.
The conversation around an unfair Jamaican justice system has been going on for years. There are also other concerns within the justice system which require immediate attention. Wednesday's CVM Live's panel discussion explored these concerns, one of which speaks to greater access to legal services. Aladdin Love shares the details.
Jamaica's judicial system has been criticized by the public time and again. One of the issues regularly highlighted is a perceived lack of equity. A few months ago, Chief Justice Brian Sykes confirmed his commitment to putting in place measures to improve the judicial system. The Assistant Director of Public Prosecutions, Adley Duncan, says there has been improvement.
So trials seem to be starting on time, on the appointed dates, and we are getting more guilty pleas, which frees up the system for more trials to be done, and things seem to me to be moving in the right direction.
While agreeing there has been progress, defense lawyer Anne-Marie Furtado Richards says much more effort is needed.
I don't think we're there yet, because it is that we still lack certain resources. We have to have, for example, mediation. Mediation is now compulsory, for example, in civil matters. And so you find that that is a means in which to minimize the stress on the judicial system, because the judicial system cannot handle all litigation matters before it. So the parish court buys into mediation, restorative justice. We have to buy into that, for example, in the criminal sphere.
She also mentions that some situations, such as family disputes, aren't court-worthy. A 2007 summary from the Jamaican Justice System Reform Task Force found the judicial system to be too uncertain, too unequal, too slow and too expensive. Fast forward to 2019, the issues remain. Both Duncan and Furtado Richards attribute the issues to a lack of resources.
You need court reporters. In the parish court, we still do not have court reporters there. In the Supreme Court, where we do have court reporters, we do not have sufficient court reporters.
We have an unmanageable caseload. We have in one court term of 3 to 4 months to deal with something like 1,000 cases in Kingston and St. Andrew alone. And of course, we prosecute all over Jamaica, where St. Anne has 200 cases, St. Thomas has 200 cases, St. James has 200 cases, and there are 54 prosecutors.
Furtado Richards says Jamaica has a good justice system regardless of these issues. She says the public should be involved in court proceedings to have a better understanding of what happens. Aladdin Love for CVM Live.
Residents of Daytona in Portmore, St. Catherine are disgruntled by the municipal corporation's decision to dismantle bridges constructed by members of the community, as they say they are in breach of the Building Act. The residents say they are concerned and are calling for some form of dialogue to be held. Robian Williams has the details in this report.
Residents stood by watching as the bridge they have been using for years in their community is being demolished. Another bridge was also destroyed. They say the municipal corporation had promised to build a bridge. However, after several years passed, a member of the community decided to construct the bridge to assist with getting across the pathway. The Samaritan apparently did not get approval from the corporation, but the residents are contending this as they say the bridges were beneficial to the whole community.
It's very helpful, useful to everybody in the community, especially when it rains, because if it rains we have to walk to the top of the scheme or we have to take a turn off in order to get to our destination, and it helps with the kids, elderly, sick, worse if you're using like a wheelchair and stuff like that, it helps a lot.
When the rain falls, the whole of outside there is soggy, and we have to be putting things out there. So the two bridges that they demolished was the ones that people used to access to come over in the scheme. And the people are really disgruntled about it.
CVM Live spoke with the Chief Executive Officer of the Municipal Corporation, Nadia Crosskill, who says the residents were given ample notice. She told us the reason behind the demolitions.
The council had to act because it's covering the drain, and you know that with the bridge being built over the drain and vehicles being parked, you know that it will hamper any kind of work that is to be done should we have flooding and those things.
She adds that no applications were sent into the local authorities for construction and that the enforcement officers were in dialogue with the person who built the bridge. Crosskill says the corporation is always open for discourse.
Quarterly stakeholders meeting with our residents, meaning our Citizens Association, Minister Fraternal and all those people, and so whatever issues the residents are having, they are allowed to come to these meetings and raise them, and so that the council can address them.
An introduction of shared corporate services. Permanent secretaries are said to have agreed to a performance-based pay incentive as part of their compensation package. The Minister of Finance and the Public Service, Dr. Nigel Clark, says the projects are aimed at improving internal efficiencies in the sector. Khadija Thomas reports.
The contracts were signed with international consulting firm Ernest & Young Jamaica Limited and is expected to assist in fostering a more effective public sector system in the island.
The compensation review that will be undertaken by Ernst & Young in conjunction with the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service will involve reviewing public sector compensation as a whole, benchmarking compensation against what happens elsewhere in Jamaica. We'll be looking towards establishing a single job evaluation system where jobs can be evaluated according to a single criteria rather than using multiple job evaluation criteria, which we have been using over the past several decades.
While describing the structure of public sector compensation as being complicated and layered, the finance minister says the current structure of compensation in the public sector has been an issue.
There are over 325 distinct grades in the public sector, which is not sustainable. That leads to a public sector compensation system that is extremely complicated, very inefficient, and non-transparent. In addition, there are at least 175 separate and distinct allowances across the public sector. I got a note today to say it's actually 185. And that is a problem.
Under this compensation review, which is valued at US $1.6 million, consultants will also develop a proposal for a pay-for-performance and reward framework. The contract for the introduction of shared corporate services is valued at US $5.4 million and will enable shared services across 7 areas of operation. Both projects will begin in January 2020 and expected to be completed within 2 years. Khadija Thomas, CVM Live.